The International Speech Contest is the spring contest for Toastmasters International. And when you think about the international speech, unlike other speeches we do, such as humorous, etc., there are really three key components that we look for: the speech development aspect, the effectiveness aspect, and the speech value. Speech development is the way the speaker puts ideas together so that the audience can understand them. Effectiveness is measured in part by the audience's reception of the speech. Were they engaged? Were you able to engage them? And speech value justifies the act of speaking. That is, that the speaker has a responsibility to say something meaningful and original to the audience. Today, we are fortunate to have several speakers in our international speech contest. I am pleased to welcome our first speaker, our president, Alan Edge. The title of his speech is To Know. To Know, Alan Edge.
To know. To have understanding of something. To have complete and clear understanding of something. To perceive directly. To have direct cognition. To recognize the nature of. Discern. From Webster's Dictionary. In the early 60s, I went to Catholic elementary school in Chicago, South Side. And at that time, your parents or caregivers had to take catechism, the study of Catholicism, and all related classes. Well, at this particular time, the Catholic Church was teaching birth control vis-a-vis the rhythm method. Now, for those of you that are not familiar with this, they came with the bright idea that in order to reduce unwanted births, that married couples should find out exactly what that 4 to 5 day window within the woman's cycle is when it's most conducive to pregnancy, and abstain from all intimate contact. Now, my mother couldn't go to the class, so my sainted grandmother went. And so when I went to pick her up and walk her home from class one day, she told me of something that happened in the class that day. Father Seitz was teaching the rhythm method to the neighborhood people, married couples, and he said it was quite easy to do this rhythm method. All you had to do was find out when those 4 or 5 days were and just simply abstain. No problem. My grandmother said that one of the men in the class raised his hand and asked Father Seitz, he said, "Father Seitz, have you ever had intimate relationships with a woman?" Father Seitz said, "Well, no, but I have a good idea of what it's like." And the man said, but to know, Father Seitz, but to know." And the whole class burst up in laughter. Obviously, having a vague reference and knowledge about something is a big difference than having intimate knowledge about it. To fake it to make it philosophy, it's cute, but unrealistic. I'm sure you would probably think different about a person who had a passion, a love for healing and medicine, but actually no formal training or degree in that area, wanting to open you up for surgery and faking it. I'm sure you want them to know, not only know, but to know that they know exactly what they're doing. When I was in high school, I kind of breezed through. Fortunately, I was born with an ability to retain information easily. In theater, they call it a quick study. Well, I never developed any study habits as a result. If I attended class, I was able to absorb it and kind of give back enough to get by. I often think about how much excellence I could have achieved if I had laser beam focused to really want to know. How do you really come to know anything? A subject, a person. Well, I know in the Bible, in Romans, the 10th chapter, it speaks about a way of knowing God and having faith. It says, faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. So to the degree that you spend quality time hearing, reading, watching, diligently investigating something, a person, a place, or a discipline, will be to the degree that you will have intimate knowledge. Little time, little knowledge. Much time, much knowledge. There is no substitute. There is no software, no pill, no 5-step easy program. There is no osmosis. There's only one way to do it. So, if you really want to get to know your family, disengage those weapons of mass distractions and spend quality time, focused to the exclusion of all else. If you really want to know your craft, you need to become like a hermit, and just lock yourself up with all the information and influences related to that subject. Join organizations and conferences, take classes, seek out a mentor. If you really want to know yourself, sometimes you just got to pull along the side of the road and take honest assessment of your strengths, your weaknesses, decisions you've made in the past, and the motives. You may even have to seek professional counseling to get that professional, detached perspective. In the Bible, in Romans 12, the Apostle Paul cautioned the new believers and said that think not more of yourself than you ought. Well, while it's really a good idea not to bite off more than you can chew in life, you have to be careful not to sell yourself short. I personally can attest to having sold myself short and missed opportunities and had delayed costly delays. You might find yourself receding to the background and becoming the unwitting assistant of somebody else's dream. It's written, to know your enemy and yourself, you will never fear losing a battle. To know yourself and not your enemy, you will have victories, but they will quickly be followed by defeats. Not knowing yourself or your enemy, you will always succumb to defeat. Well, while you can go along and have a general idea of what you want to do, the general purpose, or as we know, we're waging a war of life. And in the war of life, there are a myriad of stimuli and life influences that can affect us all kinds of different ways. Nature and nurture are at play. So while you can just be whisked along with the circumstances, the tides of circumstances, or whether you are determined and have a locked determination of a goal and a determined outcome, will depend on how much you really know. Well, you can go along in life and have a general purpose of what your life is and have a general outcome expectancy. But to know. Contest Master.
Thank you, Alan Edge. Now I'd like to introduce the next contestant, Alana McReevy. Go team. Go team, Alana McReevy.
Have you ever got talked into joining a team or a group by your friends or coworkers? Joining a bowling team or a sports group or a music team? They told you they would be there the entire time to coach you and mentor you. Contest Master, fellow Toastmasters and guests, this is exactly what happened to me. July 2012, Bastille Day's 5K run, downtown Milwaukee. My friends, who are co-workers of mine at the bank, Patty and Paul, invited me to their group. They said it's going to be fun and exciting. They're going to mentor me. I signed right up. They were avid marathon runners. I wanted to be on their team. Well, I got there a half hour early the Bastille Days. I bought some brand new shorts for my new event. I was excited. I was ready for that fun. Well, I found Patty and Paul at the beer tent. Paul already had 2 beers. Wow. They had their t-shirt on for Bastille Days and their number. And I couldn't wait to get my number and my t-shirt to match my new shorts. So I said, Paul, we got to go to the registration. I got to get my number. He was ignoring me, drinking his beer. Wow. A few minutes passed. I said, Paul, I'm getting nervous. It's 15 minutes for the race. Paul paused. He told me, he didn't even register me. He just told me that to get me to my first race. What? What kind of team player is that? I was super disappointed. Darn. Well, the race was going to start in a few minutes, and I noticed there was thousands of people over, everyone drinking and partying. I was actually getting a little nervous. What if I get knocked over and somebody tramples all over me? I'll never run again. Oh, but I had my mentors here, Patty on the right and Paul on the left. The race started. They took off. They left me. What? That 1 mile seemed like 2 miles. The second mile seemed like 5 miles. I kind of partially walked the second mile too. And the third mile, brutal. Those brand new shorts are starting to bother me. Oh my goodness. This is my first race, and you know what? My last race. I don't even like Patty and Paul. So I got to the finish line. There they were, Patty, Paul, smiling. Go team! What? This isn't no team, you left me. Are you kidding me? I forgave my friends. The second race, I registered myself. I even had a number and a t-shirt. It was called Wheels and Heels. It was downtown Veterans Park by the lake, also known as Wheels and Hell. It was 102 degrees there, super humid. I started sweating before the race. The race started. Patty here, Paul here. The race started. They took off and left me like they did last time. Oh my goodness. That first mile, I felt like I was in the furnace. My eyes are burning. The sweat was pouring down. I was thinking, why are these people racing? What is wrong with these people? Oh my God. Then I saw a bench in the horizon. If I could just sit down just for a few minutes, catch my breath. But what would Patty and Paul say about the new trainee? Oh my goodness, she's sitting down on the bench in the middle of a race? I couldn't do that. I passed the bench. I certainly didn't like Patty and Paul, and this was definitely my last race. Are you kidding me? So I was at the finish line. I saw my time, 30 minutes, 8 seconds. Yes, Patty and Paul. Go team! This isn't any team. It's hot out here. You know, I kind of thought about it. That is a big accomplishment for me to run a 5K in this heat. Wow. Yes, I forgave my friends again. The third race, the big race. This was sponsored by my company, Chase Bank. But this time, you know what I did? I started practicing running at the school track right in front of my house. I was in really good shape this time. Old shorts. I was ready for this one. You know what? The day of the race, it was right down in Veterans Park by the lake. Oh my goodness. I was ready this time though. It rained and it rained, but you know what? It wasn't hot. And I was in shape this time. Patty here, Paul here. You know what I told him? I said, just go ahead of me. I know you're going for the gold. I'm all good. That first mile was starting to feel like a good running shuffle. The second run, oh yeah, this is feeling really good. And the third one, whoa! And then at the finish line, you know it, Patty and Paul with their smile. But you know what I did? I was with them, Patty, Paul, and I. Go team! I did it. It was fun. They were right. It's fun, exciting, and you know what? They were there for me, and I didn't even know it. How cool is that? And you know, today, I still run with my friends. We do the Blarney Run, the Romp and Stomp in January, the Crazy Legs in Madison. And you know what? I love my friends. I love running. Go team!
Thank you, Alana McReevy. Now we're going to hear from our third contestant, Gail Rust. She will be talking about A Day to Remember. A Day to Remember, Gail Rust.
It was a beautiful summer day. It was morning, about 8:20, and I had been walking for about 10 minutes, and I suddenly felt pain in my chest to the point where I couldn't breathe. Fellow Toastmasters, Master of Ceremonies, and honored guests, I remember the day well. It was a day to remember, for sure. You see, I am Gail's angel. My name is Erna. Thank you very much. Oh, that was a terrible morning. I didn't know it was going to happen. Angels never really do. It was traumatic for both of us. So it was my role to step back and guide her and take care of her. That's what angels do. Well, Gail continued on. I don't know why. She should have gone home. But she's pretty stubborn, so that's what happened. She just continued on, thinking this was going to get better. The pain was pretty severe, I remember. And she had trouble breathing, had to stop occasionally. You see, she was having a heart attack. Now, I had never worked with her before on this. We'd never been through this before. So it was new territory for both of us. I suggested to her that we turn around or take a shorter route. Thank goodness she listened. So she did, took a shorter route, and she was concerned because, you see, she has a special occasion coming up. The occasion is a trip to Spain, where she will be teaching English to Spanish. Now, this could be out of the question when you have a heart attack. But Gail, I know her, she'll probably end up going anyway. Well, we made it around to the house. Things didn't go well. And fortunately, Don was home. So Don quickly got her pulled together and put her in the car. All the while, I am with her. So we arrive in the hospital, and they carefully and swiftly took care of her. They also were very good about taking all the necessary things that go on when you're having a heart attack. Well, the doctor happened to be in the hospital that day. Everyone thinks it was a coincidence, but I arranged it. He was there and decided to do a cath on her, so she was in the cath room, and I was there too. It was very interesting. They took the pictures and put a stint in, and Gail was relieved. It was an amazing process. The next day, she had to decide what was going to happen. Now, she was feeling well. Her color was good. Her appetite was good. Why not? She could still go to Spain, except the doctor said, "No, I don't think you're going." What? I assured her, "Now, Gail, we'll work this out one step at a time." And so we did. It was a process of satisfying my husband, or Gail's husband, so to speak. He was a little concerned with her going off to Spain after having a heart attack, as you can well imagine. One of her sons was supportive, the other was very frightened. It was a process, and I was with her every step of the way. Was she frightened? We were both frightened because we didn't know what was going to happen. So when it came time to be dismissed from the hospital, Gail was knowing that she was going to have to travel by herself to Spain. So she got up her gumption, packed up her clothes, and decided that she could do it. We both learned from that experience. I learned how to comfort her, guide her, teach her, and help her. You see, guardian angels, they're with us all the time. Not just seriously for a heart attack, but all the time. And I was very proud to be with her and help her make that decision. So I implore you to touch base and stay in contact with your guardian angel, because you never know when you'll need her.
Voice. The purpose of the Table Topics contest is to give Toastmasters comfort level in speaking extemporaneously and be able to conduct conversations at the drop of a hat. See how well Toastmasters speak on their feet. I would like to invite Patricia Herzog to respond to this question. If everyone were required to wear a hat at all times, what sort of hat would you wear? If everyone were required to wear a hat at all times, what sort of hat would you wear? Patricia Herzog.
If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. One of my favorite inventors, Henry Ford. I would wear a light bulb. Why? Because I'm an inventor. I don't have my light bulb shining now, but I'm thinking what I'm going to talk about. I'm thinking what you should be talking about, because I am an inventor. Why? Because my dad was an inventor, and he had plenty of light bulbs. He had them all in his basement, but we didn't know about them because we found them when he was no longer with us. He was an inventor. He had his light bulbs. I am an inventor, and I'm carrying my light bulb for you, Dad, and maybe I'll wear it on my head.
Our next contestant for Table Topics is Gail Rust. If you were given 20 acres of land and the money to develop it however you choose, what would you do with it? If you were given 20 acres of land and the money to develop it however you choose, what would you do with it? Gail Rust.
If I had 20 acres of land and all the money that I needed to make it happen, what would I put on that land? I think basically that's the question. I would build. That's what I would do. I would build gardens. Gardens and gardens and gardens, like Monet's at Giverny. A Monet garden. Wouldn't that be beautiful? With flowers and more flowers, all different varieties, all different seasons, and included in that would be vegetables. Vegetables of all kinds. And then, once I saw them starting to mature, now I have 20 acres. That's a lot of land. So I probably have some room for horses and cows and sheep and chickens. But mainly, I want to use that land to grow things. And then bring in a group of people who really need it to harvest the vegetables and take care of the animals. Oh, we'd have a great old time at that farm. That's what I would do if I had 20 acres and all the land and money in the world to make it happen.
And now our third table topic contestant, Alana McReevy. What is one item you own that you really should throw away, but probably never will? What is one item you own that you really should throw away, but probably never will? Alana McReevy.
One item that I have that I should throw away, my fuzzy orange robe. I've had it for 15 years. It's really extra fuzzy and worn out. It's got a couple holes in it. It goes right down to my ankles. I actually thought I had lost it one time. My son came back and lived with me for a year, and he washed it with my dog blankets and the bathroom rug, and he balled it up and put it in my bedroom. And I came back one day, and it was all damp, and I thought it was the end. I was going to have to throw this orange robe away. But I untangled it, and I saved it, and I dried it outside, and I still wear it every day. I'm not sure my boyfriend likes it, but that's the item that I love, and I will never throw it away.
Help me welcome our final table topics contestant, Alan Edge. Sometimes whistles blow to warn us or get our attention. When would you most like to have a whistle blown to alert you? Sometimes whistles blow to warn us or get our attention. When would you most like to have a whistle blown to alert you? Alan Edge.
When would I want a whistle to blow? When would that be the most advantageous? Well, I am married. And therefore, as a married couple, we know that there are plenty of opportunities to open mouth and insert foot. And so there are times when I would want a whistle to blow, when I would want to comment on questions that are setups. How does this dress look on me? Tweet, 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 should go off so that I don't tell the truth. When is another good time when you would want the whistle to blow? Is when you are asked the question, tell me, sweetheart, would you really want to look at Dr. Oz again tonight? Tweet, tweet, tweet. Yes, sweetheart, I would. So, I know that without the benefit of the whistle that may come at an advantageous time like that, for all of you who are married, if you don't have that whistle available, all you have to remember, men, is yes, dear. Yes, dear. Yes, dear.
SpeakTV, the place to be. Yeah. I can hear the breath coming in.